Welcoming everyone to another live edition of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host James Haskell and of course DK running the sticks behind the scenes. And we're excited to be here because camp is officially underway, Jimbo. Practice is being held. Players are there. And the news is already starting to trickle out. So we have a ton to talk about today. But first and foremost, how you been, Jimbo?
Good, man. I'm a bit tired. I've been up since 3 this morning, traveling. Came back from Dallas real early this morning, and it's just been crazy but good. Here for you guys tonight.
He's a warrior. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Nothing stops him. Even lack of sleep doesn't slow him down. Hey, Prince Quan, we haven't seen you in a while. What's going on? Lindsay, appreciate you coming out. It's been a little bit of a while.
Glenn, I got to tell you, I've never been a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. Anyway, I know that, young Glenn, before the Ravens were in town, was a fan of the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And it makes sense. They were always on TV, things like that. But if I didn't like the Cowboys before, I definitely don't like them now. The hotel we happened to be at was a stone throw from their practice facility, which was cool. Like, I ran around it and stuff like that. And, like, of course, Jerry has commercialized all of it outside of it. It's not their entire practice facility. It's one indoor facility, right? With so it's indoor field with a ton of like stuff built around it. So like weights and things like that. But anyway, he's turned it into basically built on it. It's a ton of really nice restaurants and stuff like that and whatever. And so people like drive around and there's a field in the middle you can like play on and stuff. Point is, the next morning where the Uber is pulling us out of the hotel and they're backing up into the street. Some certainly was a Cowboys player, was late for something. All black smoke light or windows, black rims, this really nice Tesla. Right, and I swear, this close to clipping us.
Really?
Because the Uber driver thought he was going to stop. She was already halfway in the road.
Well, he couldn't hit you. He's in a Tesla, dude. Don't they stop themselves? I mean, what do we...
I don't know if he was an autopilot. But I was like, you know what? I never did like them Cowboys. So, yeah.
Well, I don't like them either. Since the Ravens came to town, I dropped those guys like a bad habit. But
that's right.
Shout out to Channel Dirty. Appreciate you always coming out and supporting. Marcus, what's going on? Shame on young Glenn. What did I do?
For liking the Cowboys?
Oh, for liking the Cowboys. Well, it was only because
the Ravens were in town. Yeah,
and they were on TV so often, and honestly, I just I didn't have a lot of people around. My mom certainly wasn't a football fan, so I just watched what was on TV, and that was my favorite team. But quickly learned my lesson and jumped on board with the Ravens when they got to town. But all right, so I guess we should start with some of the day one camp notes So camp officially opened for team practice yesterday, Wednesday, the 27th. And day one had the first few days, there's a ramp up period, like John Harbaugh said. They ease into camp. So right now, it's a lot of non-contact execution type stuff that they're working on. And, of course, you'll notice that the offensive line, as well as I think the tight ends and then the entire front seven of the defense has to wear those special helmets. I can't remember the name of what they are, but they're big, puffy helmets to prevent possible concussions. And then, of course, Jimbo, the moving to the afternoon. Something that they've asked about a lot throughout the offseason. And, according to the data that John and the Ravens have, it's safer and at least in theory, a better idea to practice in the afternoons, which I think came as a bit of a surprise to a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Based on the temperature and stuff like that, that was a little surprising. But before we dig deep into these notes, should we talk injury notes?
Yeah, we can. Let's get into it.
I think that might be a good place to start just to kind of get that.
Because I got something I'm burning up about here, Jimbo.
That's what I figured. Charlie Kohler, you guys probably saw John Harbaugh mention that had a sports hernia issue that was lingering, thought he could manage it. Looked like they're going to clean up the original surgery and then, do it again. So he'll be out for the near future. So that's a bit unfortunate. The other two, a good news and a bad news situation. And I'll just say it, Glenn, and then I'll just hand it over to you.
Okay.
So first of all, I'll lead with the good news. Michael Pierce, who we were all a bit concerned about, not because we think Mike is unprepared or he's lazy, but look, dude, Mike has struggled historically with his weight.
Yeah.
And he knows that. He's readily cognizant of it. Look, when you're 6 foot tall and 6 foot wide, you're going to struggle with your weight. Like, it's just as simple, right? And so he came in, passed his conditioning test, and John said he looks good. You know, he said it's up to him to clean a few things up, but he looks good. And hey, that conditioning test is no joke. So shout out to Michael Pierce for doing that. On the other hand, one of our offensive guards that we're hoping takes a big step this year in Ben Cleveland is not practicing, just like Jonas Schaefer reports here. Guard Ben Cleveland missed his second straight day of practice. John Harbaugh confirmed that he's still yet to complete his conditioning test.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that a second-year player, a guy, first of all, it's not, there's no excuse whether you're a first-year, second-year, 10-year guy. There's no excuse. But certainly a guy going into his second year who's competing for the starting job, so he knows what to expect because he did it last year. He knows how grueling it is. He's got an open competition for the job that he wants to hold, and he comes in and so he failed it last year, DK. Oh my. So not only does he come in and fail it as a rookie, which some may excuse it because he's never seen the test before, and they say, well, there was a lot going on with preparation. Okay, so excuse maybe the rookie. He comes back and fails it not once because he failed it yesterday. He failed it again today. I mean, that's just that is something that's unacceptable. Ben Cleveland should be embarrassed about this. And my question is, Jimbo, I mean, is he using his attempts at the practice or at the conditioning test now as a way to get in some type of shape? Because every day he's going to have the opportunity to take this test, but how much can you now, like, how much catch up is he trying to play, and how long could he possibly be missing? Is he just handing the job to Tyree Phillips?
Yeah, tons of questions there. But you're right. I think that I don't know strategically how you go about this, right? Because going all out one day and then going all out the next day, I don't know how far behind he is, right? Like, I would almost space him out, but then obviously you missed more days of practice, and like he needs to get in practice. So I don't know how far behind he is. But this is the other thing. People talk about Harbaugh's the difficulty of his test, but I also want to say this, ladies and gentlemen. He has no excuse because Orlando Brown Jr. The biggest.
How about Falele?
Yeah, but Falele doesn't look
an athlete,
sloppy.
Right? Yeah.
Orlando Brown is a sloppy looking dude. Like, let's just
passed it first try.
What's your excuse, dude? Like, you're right. I mean, look, Jawan James is practicing, and he hasn't even played realistic football since pre-COVID. Like, COVID wasn't even on the face of the planet.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And like you said, if Michael Pierce can come in and as John said, pass with flying colors, no excuse. Marco G says, what's good, guys? Can't wait for the season to start. Ravens will play a lot of afternoon games, so practicing the afternoon will help long-term. And go Cowgirls. What's your take on that? Do you think do you see the correlation there, practicing in the afternoon?
I like it because it's a routine thing. You know, I can get with that, and like I could sign up for that. Like, in my mind, I think it could make sense. You know, you go through a routine every day, and then the time of those things. What is it called? Your circadian rhythm. Is that what it's called, DK? Yeah, is that what it's called, Glenn?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that is the proper term here, but like the idea of routine could have something to do with that. So yeah, sure, I'm down with it. Nice.
And like Dawson said, if 50-year-old Calais Campbell, who's 6'9", if he can pass the test, no excuse for a 23-year-old Ben Cleveland. No excuse, but maybe it's like let's see. I can't remember who said. Oh, here we go. Maybe it's the squirrel and pizza diet that he's been on that is not doing him any favors. Also, Dawson said that as well. I mean,
you could go back even further. Guys like Bryant McKinney have passed this. Guys like, I mean, you could go down the list, right? And but Orlando Brown Jr., if you can pass it, that's saying something. So it's really unfortunate, and we hope. Is it a coincidence that he has Cleveland as his last name, where like it's you know what I mean?
The
like
Cleveland thing to do?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like just sabotage the whole opportunity you have in front of you.
It's awfully coincidental. I will say that. There it is. Circadian rhythms are
Here we go.
physical, mental, and behavioral changes that follow a 24-hour cycle.
So yeah, I
Okay.
was correct there. Liz is appreciate the validation, DK, because I was just throwing it out there.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, I mean, I think it could benefit them changing this up. I tell you what I like, Joe Jimbo.
Mhm.
What I like most is the willingness to try alternative methods. You know, a lot of these old school
Yeah.
coaches get stuck in this rut of I do things my way. I'm the boss. I love the fact that John Harbaugh is open to new data, new suggestions, and trying something that hopefully will kind of go opposite of what they had to go through last year with all those injuries. So
Are there?
let's.
Oh, go ahead. My
No, I
bad.
was just saying, let's hope for the best.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any other injury updates or status? I know you mentioned Nick had a little thing, Nick Boyle, but he came back. Is there anything else that I'm missing as far as injury
Uh,
news and notes?
the only other, let's see, the only other absence day one was Devon Williams, but I believe he's back for day two. So yeah, I don't think there's any. I tell you one bit of encouraging news is I saw some clips of J.K. Dobbins, one in particular where he caught a ball and then turned up field and really put the burners on. And yeah, dude looks quick, looks fast, and change of direction certainly doesn't look like it's an issue. So I would
No.
think J.K. is very soon going to be back on the practice field with his teammates.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Love to hear it.
Yeah, so let's get, unless you have anything else, let's start getting into some notes if you're okay
No,
with that.
absolutely. Let's get right into it.
Cool. All right. So
And of course, you guys know that eventually here we're getting to Lamar's contract talk. So hang in there. We're getting there. Don't worry.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, I mean, that's something that can't go on. Oh, I guess we should. Did we point out last show that the Ravens also added wide receiver Bailey Gaither, who went
No, we
undrafted
didn't.
last
So
year?
good
Okay.
point.
Yeah, so he went undrafted last year and then apparently retired, but then came back to football and played in the USFL. So Bailey Gaither is probably not a guy who we're going to be looking at on Sundays catching touchdowns, but he's a guy that is right now a camp body with the hopes of competing for a spot, which at least we look at. There's at least one spot that's open for competition. So let's see if Bailey can shock us and the rest of the world by making something happen there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's get into some of the notes, Jimbo. So, man, it doesn't stop. The hype train for Likely has not stopped. It continues to grow. I saw that he had a 55-yard touchdown from Lamar Jackson. Lamar hyped him up, although said he didn't want to go too far until the pads come on, but he said he is like that. So how are you starting to get a little even more excited about Isaiah Likely and his potential?
Yeah, I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard for fear of breaking, my collarbone or something like that. But I think we were way out in front of this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty fair to say. I think you guys would agree with us on that. Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about this kid and what he can do. And at the end of the day, I think he's going to be a serious matchup problem. If they want to keep up speed wise, they're going to be too small. If they want to keep up size wise, they're going to be too slow. So it's just simple math there, right? And I'm excited to see how he's being used. Can't wait to see it. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I don't think that it's overhype. I think that it's real. Like you said, Lamar wants to wait and see, but apparently it's pretty evident. And the most important thing is that he's young early on. I think that what Mark did so well in comparison to Hayden is that whatever he did, like we weren't there, but he created trust between him and Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that Likely is doing that same thing. So yeah, you can see here. Jonas Schaefer says Lamar Jackson said tight end Isaiah Likely is playing like a baby Mark right now. Andrew said Likely reminds him of himself. Hey, I'll take it. I'm not mad at it. Shoot, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, if you're compared to the all-pro tight end and you're a tight end, then you should be quite thrilled with that comparison. So, yeah, man, the thought of having a combination of athleticism and playmaking and pass catching ability, similar to what they had in 19 when Hurst was here with Mark Andrews, is exciting because there's no doubt Mark's going to get the bulk of the attention. So Isaiah Likely, in theory, should be matched up with a plus matchup in his favor virtually every time he's on the field, because they have to give the respect to Mark Andrews. And of course, Rashad Bateman's still on the outside, and you can't just leave a guy like that open. So, could be big season for the rookie, no doubt about it. Some of the other notes I want to get into, I'm going to switch sides and start talking about the edge position. And talk to me about what they're saying about what Odafe Oweh has been showing these last couple days.
Yeah, so we'll kind of talk about two positions at the same time because, of course, we know that there's a possibility that Ronnie's not back and the Ravens are preparing for contingencies. And right now, the ones are Juwan James at left and Morgan Moses at right. Mm-hmm. And what I'm hearing is that Odafe Oweh has improved in leaps and bounds in what he can do with his hands, which is a huge deal. And that Juwan James, to say it lightly, is really struggling with Odafe Oweh. And so, look, that's good and bad, right? Like, we want Odafe to be destroying everything in front of him. At the same time, Ronnie needs to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no other way to put it. We need Ronnie back, and we're hoping for a speedy and full and enduring recovery. So, but we'll stick to the positive here. Odafe seems to have made some progress. Obviously, even go through the shoulder surgery and stuff like that, looking explosive, looking strong, but also his technique has dramatically improved. Expecting some big things this year, Glenny boy.
Yeah, apparently he was a blur coming off the edge. And so I will take the negative, which is the struggles of what's this, the left tackle? I just blanked.
Yeah. Juwan James.
If I will take the negative, which is the struggles of Juwan James, for the positive, because let's be honest, if Odafe Oweh doesn't make a pretty big leap in his skill this year, then the Ravens are really going to struggle at the edge position. And I am hopeful that in camp is the only time we'll see Juwan James at left tackle, because that would mean Ronnie's out there doing his thing. And if he's not, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like we might be better off with Patrick McCarry over at left tackle. But let's hope it's Ronnie and that all this is just another step in the right directions for Odafe Oweh, and that we're not focusing on the struggles of Juwan James. But yeah, hyped to see back to full participation in all team drills, and absolutely a blur. Because you remember when coming out, Jimbo, the issue with Odafe was only his get off seemed too slow for his 4.39 40 speed. And that was, so they said, I mean, if he can improve his get off, then that alone will make him so much more tough to deal with getting around the edge. And then you mentioned the hand placement. That'll certainly take him to a whole nother level. So yeah, excited about that.
Apparently he made Juwan James' punch look obsolete.
I love it.
I
love it. Yeah. So yeah, that's encouraging. All right, now back to the tight end room. Nick Boyle is getting a ton of love coming out of camp. And I don't know if this is I don't think they'd be trying to feature him in order to like hype him up, because we know what Nick Boyle is. I mean, we know the type of player he is. We know he's never going to be a Mark Andrews clone. But it seems like he's getting an awful lot of targets up the seam, which is interesting to me. Do you think that there might be an expanded role for Nick Boyle in the passing game this year, or is this just because Kohler's out and they need body? Like, what's your take on the Nick Boyle buzz?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's just about creating deception. Nick looks incredible. He looks in shape, and we're excited to see what we can do. It's just about that deception, because I feel like at our height in 2019, there were moments where Nick Boyle, was just wide open. And you've said it before, Glenn. I think you're one of the first to mention it. I think it's worth repeating, is that Nick Boyle is a problem in the open field for a different reason than other players, but he's just a massive human. Nobody, similar to Patrick Ricard, he's just a horse to take down. So I don't mind giving them the ball, and it's the deception of our offense, right? It's line up the same, run a completely different play. Line up the same, run another different play. Line up the same, run a third play. You know what I mean? So by doing that, you're able to have increased deception.
Yeah, no doubt. And now look, it says day 2, Nick Boyle did have a bit of I don't know if it scares the right word, but he was out stretching for around 20 minutes. But what do you help me clear this up. What is but returned to a tip?
Yeah, I don't know what that means either, but DK, if you got any clarification there, I'm not up on the social media
Yeah, maybe that's like some sort of slang or
acronyms or
lingo.
something,
Yeah,
but he
I sound
returned.
like an old. Maybe that's some sort of slang, Jimmy, or some lingo, some of the newfound lingo. Like I sound like my grandfather. Oh my goodness, when did that happen? But as you can see, also Lamar Jackson went 6 for 9 on 11 on 11 and 5 for 7 on 7 on 7 drills. So it looks like he spread the ball around nicely, which is what you want. And let's get into Lamar, if that's okay with you. Some of the stuff. Now, of course, there's still a lot more to talk about outside of just Lamar, but Lamar Jackson today and yesterday, not only did he seem sharp and he was spinning the ball and he was
Mhm.
spreading it around, but it's the type of throws he was hitting that they said were an emphasis, and it looks like that emphasis in the offseason is going to be paying off, at least thus far in training camp, but when they're hoping in the regular season. But he had a 55-yard touchdown strike to the sideline. He's throwing back shoulder passes up the seam route, which is something that that's according to Jonas Schaefer, a bit of a new wrinkle to the tight end camp here. Let's see.
Yep.
John Harbaugh, as we see on the screen here, John Harbaugh complimented Lamar Jackson for his improved passing, said the connection with Duvernay yesterday showed that, and they also want to continue pushing the ball down the field. So I like the fact that we're hearing about back shoulder, but not just back shoulders to the sideline, Jimbo, but forcing the only place to throw it up the seam to the back shoulder by the coverage the defense is playing, and showing that Lamar can make that throw, that the receiver or the tight end in this case can make the catch, make the adjustment. That's exciting because that's a new wrinkle. And when you see those zero defenses and they blitz and send all those guys, a great way to beat tight one-on-one coverage if you can't run by the guy is to hit a back shoulder pass and let him run by you as you put the brakes on. So exciting to hear some of these new wrinkles and some of the early impressions of the coaches and the players on how Lamar Jackson's throwing the ball.
Yeah, and I'm excited about it, but let me tell you what, I just want to say this. I'm not surprised that he's continued to improve. I think, we did the video on the anonymous defensive coordinator who said stupid, just dumb stuff about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And I just want to say this. I've said it before, like a long time ago when we were pod, I compared Lamar Jackson to Steph Curry in the way that he's changed the game of the NFL in the same way that Curry has, changed basketball. I still stand by that. But now, like if I had to compare him to a guy in the league in the NBA, he reminds me a lot of Giannis in that, like, do you remember what Giannis was? Even when he started to take off, he was so one-dimensional in his game. But the thing about Giannis is that he's humble and he's fearless. Honestly, the difference between Ben Simmons and Giannis is that Ben Simmons is scared to death to shoot a jumper.
Yep.
And Giannis doesn't give a crap. Yeah,
Yep.
he just doesn't give a crap, right? Because, yeah, exactly. Mental fortitude. And so what I'm trying to say is that I'm not surprised that Lamar Jackson is continuing to improve his game because this is who he is. Just like Giannis, right? Like he's gonna work. They asked him what he's motivated by. He loves football. That's you know what I mean? It doesn't get any more pure than that. He loves the game. Wants to play for as long as he can, and he's gonna do everything he can to be the best player he can. Like I love that about Lamar Jackson, but I think a lot of people are honestly surprised. Are you that surprised he's improving? To me, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no, not surprised at all. And I love his answers to those questions, like you mentioned, when they ask about the criticisms that he gets over the past, it seems like forever. I shouldn't even say over the past, his whole career.
Yeah.
Even before he was in the league. But specifically, he was asked about the DC comments, the anonymous DC comments, and he said that's what comes with it. When you're trying to be great, you're going to get a lot of attention. So I love the fact that it doesn't seem to faze him. And when they even asked about the fact that he's not holding out, the fact that he's not, because we see a lot of players around the league that are showing up for camp, but they're not participating in any drills. They're just standing on the sideline amidst a contract negotiation. And they, like Deebo Samuel, he's at camp, but he's not playing. And that's just one guy amongst a bunch. And he said, no, that's not how I'm going to be. I'm going to be out there with my guys. That's the type of person I am. That's the type of person I'll always be. And I love ball. So he's not a guy who is going to put himself before the team, put himself before the team's goals. And man, I mean, he's just, I just, again, I don't know how anyone in their right mind can dislike this guy. Every time I hear him talk, I like him more than I did before.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say too is that when do you get tired of being wrong all the time? Like just for the sake of like digging your heels in. This
Yeah.
happens all the time in other realms. Like I'm not going to dig into politics and all that stuff, but like, people dig their heels in, even though they know they're
Oh,
wrong. Like,
drives me crazy.
yeah, but it's like, guys, just stop. Like, can we just admire greatness and enjoy it?
Yeah.
Relish in it,
Appreciate it.
respect it. Like all this, I just don't get it. Shout out to Terrence Jr. 32. Love the show, guys. Go Ravens. Thank you so much, Terrence. Going up on the wall, my man.
Go Ravens. Let's get it.
Right. Let's see. Marco G is back again. Says Ben Simmons is Kyler Murray and Giannis is Lamar. Difference between Lamar and Giannis compared to Simmons and Kyler is mentality. Yeah, I thought it was funny that Kyler did his presser where they were asking about his mandates with his contract to do film study.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a shirt on that said easy money. It made me think of the year. It's just bad timing. That's bad taste, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
bad timing at least.
Yeah, it made me think of the year. Do you remember when Haloti Nada was getting paid a ton of money and he got hurt? And that was the same year when Royal Farms came out with the no surcharge ATMs. And the logo, Haloti was in the commercial and say, "Get your money for nothing." Or, so
That's good timing.
Just terrible timing, right? Like,
yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, I agree. He's just Lamar's. I'm so happy he's a Raven. And actually, Glenn, I'm gonna break some news. Not real news. I'm just gonna give you a hunch.
Oh, okay.
I didn't mean to get you that excited.
Right.
But book it, okay? Book it right now. In the next 72 hours, this deal will be done.
I love it.
And then let me tell you why. Okay, I've been connecting the dots. Got some intel. But outside of that, there were two people watching Lamar's presser today. Did you see that, DK?
I did see that.
Yeah, yes. I think the deal is done. I think that because Lamar said something today that was also interesting. I think he said, I don't like when people are in my business. If I got anything to say about my business, I'm going to say it. Because think about it, who's going to announce the deal? Right? Like it always gets announced.
I hope it's them.
It comes through an agent. You know what I'm saying? Or like whatever.
Yeah, I don't want Schefter. You know what?
It's going to be Lamar.
Brad the intern.
That's right. That's right. But
Brad the intern, Brad.
It's going to be Lamar that's going to break it. And I think they're just waiting for him to do it when he wants to. I think it's a done deal, Glenn.
I hope you're right, man. I have a hunch that it's going to get done as well. But Lamar did say there is a cutoff point. So let's hope it gets done before that cutoff point. If not, we'll be looking at a whole nother season of people guessing, pontificating, making up stuff on all these national shows. Michael Echeverrieta, did I say that right?
Yeah, that was.
I said it so quick, it just happened. It was
that was really
I blacked
good.
out.
I blacked out.
He says, I was gonna say they got to be tired of being wrong. Yeah, I would think, but like Jimmy said, some people, even when presented with evidence, it's like the old Shaggy song. It wasn't me, but she caught me on camera. It wasn't me, but she saw me on the sofa. It wasn't me. Like some people will never admit they are wrong, no matter what evidence. I mean, he even said it himself. He'll obviously never admit it because he said even if he wins 12 MVPs, he's still not a QB1. Well, 12 MVPs would obviously make him the greatest athlete in the history of all sports, not just football. So, yeah, some people just can never admit when they're wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at that.
I'm telling you, man, I just got a hunch that they're just waiting for Lamar to let people know himself.
Yeah, buddy.
But, I thought this was interesting. The other thing I want to mention, this is kind of off the beaten path here. We're talking about contracts. You saw DK Metcalf's deal, right? Largest signing bonus in NFL history and $30 million, 3 years, $72 million, $53 million guaranteed. How do you think Marquise Brown is feeling about that these days?
Well, he's got to be awfully happy. I think any receiver waiting to get paid, it's got to be. And if you correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's DK Metcalf, Marquise Brown, as well as Terry McLaurin.
And it's AJ Brown is who it is.
AJ Brown. Okay,
and AJ got paid. Might be in there, but I know those three for sure. AJ, DK, and Hollywood.
So 2 of them already got paid because AJ got that crazy deal. DK just got the crazy deal. So Marquise, in theory, should be saying, I'm up next, but do the Cardinals agree? I can't wait. This could end up being another Orlando Brown Jr. situation where they trade for him and then they're handcuffed and they have to pay him crazy money because they gave up too much to get him, and they can't give up that much for only a 1 or 2 year rental. So they got to pay the guy. And it's Kyler's best friend now. So, yeah, I can't wait to see how that situation plays itself out. I think that's going to be something to keep watch on. Marco G says Lamar in final 2 minutes a game since 2018 is second in QB rating and third in completion percentage, not even taking into account what he can do with his legs. Marco G is on fire today, 100% right. We put the numbers up. He's performed better than the great Pat Mahomes that everybody wants to anoint the greatest of all time in those same scenarios.
I told you, Glenn, to put the brakes on that. People, we talked about this years ago. And man, he's incredible. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say Patrick Mahomes is incredible, but like, sometimes you put the cart before the horse.
Well, let's see what the effect of losing a guy like Tyreek Hill has on a player, because let me tell you, if anyone wants to, we used to look, we like our guys and we would hype up Marquise and compare him oftentimes to Tyreek Hill. But after we soaked them all in and kind of saw all that he did on the field, come on now. He's no Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is maybe in a league of his own. JDub45 says, often miss the lives since my shifts in the ER are long, but definitely appreciate y'all and the 410 Sports Talk chat family. Make bangers on me, my man.
Appreciate it, dude.
J-Dub, appreciate, and also appreciate whatever position you're holding in an ER. We certainly need as many nice people as we can, because, man, a lot of times you can't bring family in. So whoever's working is the family of the patient. So appreciate all your hard work, and thanks for the love.
Yeah, absolutely. Glenn, here we go. Hey guys, Laura Roten says, hey guys, Baltimore is killing it. We got the Ravens and Orioles that are going to kick some butt this year. Laura,
yeah,
I agree with you. Man, you're scaring me with this jinx, girl.
Nah, there ain't no jinx. This is Oriole magic. Let me tell you, Trey Mancini had a magical day today in what might have been his final home game. He hits an inside the park home run, which was super special. And he did it on the anniversary of Mo Gabba's unfortunate passing, the super fan that everyone in Baltimore knows and loves.
That is my biggest regret on this show, is not getting Mo on.
Yeah. Well, that's something I think we'll always look back on as a bit of a regret. But shout out to Trey Mancini for doing that on Mo's day, because they had a special relationship. And like he said in his post-game press conferences, maybe he had a little help upstairs today getting that. Maybe that sun that was in the right fielder's eyes that caused that inside the park home run to come true. Maybe old Mo had something to do with that sun.
Yeah, it was his laugh. It was a smile, dude. He was just smiling so bright. It just
no doubt. That laugh, that smile, absolutely, man. So, shout out to all of them, and shout out to the O's, man, getting it done, back above 500, not in last place. How about this, Jimbo? The Red Sox are in last place, and they got about. I don't know the numbers, but it's got to be 5 times the payroll. It's got to be. Crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we're drafting well, developing guys, and even I'm getting hyped about the O's. The reason I'm getting hyped about it is because there are guys.
That's right.
Like, that's the exciting part for me about it. Like, that brings me back in. That is really fun to see. But I got another thing, Glenn, that I want to mention here that I'll give credit where credit is due. Every once in a while, my older brother, Eric, comes up with a good idea. And he gave me a good idea today, and I think I should share it on the show live, because it might be something we have to do.
He always does this, guys. He always surprises me live.
I do.
When I have no idea what he's about to say. No.
Yeah, it's true. He talked about how we could get to the Super Bowl in the cheapest way possible, right? So maybe we should we should figure out how much a decent ticket is to the Super Bowl and correlate that with the odds of the Ravens making the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So that way, whatever we put down, if they get the Super Bowl, we got that money in a ticket. I'm just saying. I think it's a pretty good idea.
Not a bad idea. But gambling.
And my boys are going to the Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. I like it. I mean, hey, gambling is gambling. There is that risk, but I'm willing to go down that road if you are. Maybe we
Hey,
could talk to Prize Picks, who, by the way, is our sponsor. Check out Prize Picks. Use promo code 410 to get a couple extra dollars. But yeah, maybe we'll have to check out Prize Picks and see. DK, maybe you could pull it up and see what type of odds the Ravens have right now currently, and we could maybe make something happen. Put a couple shekels down.
yeah.
Marco G asked about any updates for Bowser. Bowser's right now on the pup list, but you're right in the sense that there hasn't been a lot coming out talking about Bowser and whether or not his recovery is on track. I assume it is, but with the lateness of his injury being the last game of the season, yeah, it's interesting. We haven't heard much about Tyus Bowser. Have you heard anything that maybe I missed, Jimbo?
No, I haven't. I mean, that's the thing, is that there's really not much going on right now. He's full on recovery mode, right? Like they're not even, I don't think they're even letting their minds get there to where like, oh, when could he come back? I think he's still just recover, right? Like that's the thought.
Yeah, but I mean, I would like to at least hear,
Recovery's
stuff's on
going
track.
well.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
haven't heard a ton, no, to answer your question.
So let's hope that that's not a bad thing and a sign that maybe something, I don't know, maybe there. Let's just hope that no news is good news, as they like to say. But yeah, I'm even searching Twitter now using his name to see if anything pops up, and all I'm seeing is the fact that he's on the pup list. And yeah, so nothing new in regards to his status and when he'll be back on the field. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Tyler Linderbaum, if we can. He had an opportunity to talk with the media today, and also John was asked about him, and also there's some notes coming out. So while it's still, kind of wait and see in the sense that you got to see these guys in pads before you start making any kind of determinations about anybody in the trenches. But I thought it was funny him talking about matching up against a guy like Calais Campbell and how gigantic he is. And, he said, look, but I got to get used to it. This is the league. And there's a lot of big guys in this league. So I got to get used to it. But it just seems like listen to John talk about him. Tyler's just a baller, man. He don't say a lot. He comes in. He said, hey, I might say hi to him. You not even say hi back. He's so quiet. But the dude works his butt off. He doesn't make the same mistake twice. Obviously, no issues with the snaps. And he talked about Kevin Zeitler and how much he's meant to him. And I love the fact that when he asked about what's one piece of advice maybe you could share with us that he's passed along to you. And it's just another example of what this Ravens organization, like the family-like atmosphere and all that they do, helps build a reputation around the league. Because Zeitler said, look, I've been to a few other places. The grass is not greener. This is an excellent organization. They have an excellent front office, coaching staff, excellent facilities, and just be happy that you're here with this great organization, because it's not like this at every stop in the NFL. So excited about the hype coming from Tyler Linderbaum, but also happy to hear another affirmation or another confirmation that this is the place to be if you're playing in the league.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing I'll say too about Tyler is, I think some people, when they hear John said he's relatively quiet and things like that, you might get a little nervous about, he's the main communicator on the O-line. He's got to make calls and things like that. But Tyler has been doing it for a long time. He's readily cognizant of that. And he has no issues. He talked about being commanding. He has no issues doing that. I would be shocked if he, I guarantee you, on the field and off the field, he's just two different people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just what it's. Same thing like Steve Smith is just a jerk on the football field. Like, you love him to death, but he's a punk, right? Like, I mean, he'll beat you up and just punch you in the face. Off the field, apparently Steve Smith is like the nicest dude on the face of the planet. Right? But like, so I'm excited to see what Tyler does. I'm excited to see him maul some guys and get downfield, get in the second level and smash some DBs. FanDuel has Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl odds at plus 2,100. Glenn, I'm a gambling novice. What does plus 2,100 mean?
That means if you put $100 down, you'll get 2,100 in return.
All right. So if a Super Bowl ticket is $5 G's, right, is a nosebleed,
we're gonna have to put up $250 roughly.
All right.
Yeah, and that's per ticket. So we'll have to put up $500 if we want 2 tickets.
Sure. Well, yeah, and I'm gonna have to. I mean, there's no way I'm going to Super Bowl and Tiny's not coming.
Okay.
Oh, she would probably divorce me.
Would she? Okay. Well,
If I went to the Super Bowl without her, I
and you
would
think
come
that
home
I'm
with an
allowed
empty
to?
house.
So you think I'm allowed to go with you and Tanya, and Katie's not coming?
Right, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna have to put up.
So we're up to $1,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Inflation. Dang it.
That really snowballed, Jimbo.
Anyway, I think it would be fun.
And if you think my son is gonna let us go, I'll not go. Look, I won't even be there. It'll be Katie and Cam.
Dude.
I won't even be allowed.
You're just in the car listening to it on one of those old radios with the long antenna.
Dang it. We know. We dang it. Well, maybe we'll send them on a girls' day with a spa.
No, it ain't working.
That's not working. Dang it.
Tanya doesn't like people that she doesn't know touching her.
Ah, okay.
Not her thing.
Well, she's got to get to know them first.
Hey,
shout out to the whole squad is in the chat right now. We got Black Daniels, we got Yolanda B, we got Edwin, we got, let's see, Don C is in the crowd, we got Tanja Bowman. Yeah. I mean, we got the squad out here. So I appreciate you guys sticking with us and always showing the support and love.
And the other thing I want to mention too, I agree to that. I agree with all of that because you guys are 410 Sports Talk at the end of the day. Like if you guys didn't show up, we would be nothing. So DK, I just noticed on Twitter that Ing Raven was at practice today. I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind hitting him up to see how long he's in town for. Love to do something live in person.
Yeah, that would be dope. Yeah, I'd be down.
I don't know if he's going to the stadium practice on Saturday. But that would be really cool as well. By the way, we will be there, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're going to be there, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And we will be there. So excited for that. John said today, of course, it'll still be, no pads, but I'm excited to see the guys out there, get a look at them and see what's going on. Watch Lamar throw the football, spin it. And just ooh and ah at the players. So I'm looking forward to it. Henry's first time at M&T Bank Stadium, baby.
Yeah, you better bring some headphones.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because I brought a way too young version of my son. And when the O came out, my bro doing O's game, that O came out, scared the bejesus out of him. I mean, he jumped out of his skin. He wasn't ready for that O, man, during the national anthem. And so I learned a very valuable lesson there. Ear protection for the youngest, and they'll have a good time. And let me see if there's any other notes here, Jimbo, because I feel like I skipped by a few when I was excited jumping to Lamar, because let's be honest. I mean, Lamar is he's the biggest draw here. He's the guy.
Yeah, let's not kid ourselves.
It was good to see Justin Houston back out there.
Doesn't he look better than last year, in your opinion? He looked more in shape to me.
Yeah, he looks cut up, man. He looks cut up. I mean, of course, I think this is a guy who always keeps himself in fantastic shape, but you're right. He looks excellent right now. It's funny. He talked about, how special he thinks the group can be, but just praised that they stay healthy. I wonder how much kind of shell shock that all these guys are going through after that ridiculous, run of injuries that they went through last year. I wonder if this is kind of like, like if people are like super nervous if they see a guy and a couple guys get tied up, like, is everyone like, oh no. Are they, like how much a residual effect does last year have in this season?
Yeah. I mean, a huge residual effect, right? Like I think about it every moment, every time Lamar Jackson, I got, when Lamar came in, it took me a moment to like not hold my breath every time he took off with the football. You get used to it, right? But now, being that we've been so injured, every time somebody lays on the ground for extra millisecond, my heart is going to skip a beat.
Yeah.
And it's just PTSD.
Exactly. I mean, I'll never forget that day when I got the Gus and the Marcus Peters alerts like back to back. And my heart just sank while I was at work. But so let's hope for much better luck when it comes to that kind of stuff, and let's hope that the changes they made make a difference. I also want to talk about Rashad Bateman. He got most of the attention from the pass catchers' point of view in the offseason as he became the obvious lead dog after the trade of Marquise Brown. And I love seeing that him and Marlon Humphrey relish the matchups between the two. I love seeing that those two are going head to head. I hope that they're taking care of each other, because I know that, the competitive side of both of them is really strong. And I just hope that they can compete at a high level and make sure that they're taking care of each other also. But it's clear right now that Rashad Bateman's the best route runner on the team. And that he's going to be the playmaker that the Ravens are going to turn to on the outside. Um, is there something you think about? Is there something that makes you at all pause or at all nervous about Rashad Bateman's game, knowing that the role he's going to have to take on, the expectations with being a number one receiver, or are you completely confident in his ability?
I'm really confident in Rashad's mental game. We talked about that earlier, and we heard a lot about his mental fortitude coming out of Minnesota and being a team guy, on the field guy, row the boat type guy, team player. And so while, yeah, sure, he is the number one receiver, but you said it before, the real number one receiver is 89. So he won't have the burden of a true number one receiver because he's got an all-pro tight end who's going to get marginally more targets than him. So he can still relax and take a breath knowing that. You know what I mean? At least I think. Like, that's what if I felt like he was over nervous and I had any sort of relationship with him, that's what I'd be telling him. Like, hey, take comfort in the fact that Mark's the guy. Not that you're not the guy. I don't mean like that, but Mark's the one that is the lead dog at this point when it comes to receptions, and you just focus on taking advantage of every opportunity you get.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And let's hope that, one thing that when I think about the competition between him and Marlon, it gets me thinking about other positions around the around the team, and it makes me wonder, like, as a vet, so you're Marlon Humphrey, right? You're going up against Rashad Bateman. The league, like, Marlon at this point doesn't have to prove anything, certainly in practice. Doesn't have to prove anything to anyone in the practice field. So how much do you think, is it all like, I'm going to shut this guy down, or do you think any of it, being a leader on the team, being a veteran on the team, do you think there's ever a moment in the game or in practice where, not to say he lets Rashad Bateman do it, or like get a catch, but where they, like, what I'm saying is, like, look at Calais Campbell. When Calais Campbell's matched up against Tyler Linderbaum, do you think he's going, I'm going to teach this rookie a lesson here? Or do you think he's going, I don't want to crush this guy's confidence day one and shred him?
No, because I think, this is my opinion. And I think when you're in it for a while, this is what you do. I think you learn to understand that practice is where you want to fail. It's okay to fail in practice. Your confidence shouldn't be, if you didn't fail in practice today, I don't think it was a fruitful practice. That's the chance for you to try things, for you to push your limits, not on game day. Game day is scripted, and you should be in your comfort zone, right? So for me, fail in practice. And so if I'm Marlon, if I'm Calais, tide raises the level of all ships, iron sharpens iron, all those things. I'm going at them 1,000% because I know that anything I can give them 999 times out of 1,000 is more difficult than what they're going to face on Sunday. So fail today. That's totally fine.
Now,
you know what I mean?
When we talk about the confidence and how important that is, do you worry that maybe you shake some confidence and then it affects them on game day?
I don't know. I don't see it. That's just my take. Because they're conversing. They are teammates. I'm sure Marlon is like, hey, do this here, do this there. Like, this is how you'll beat a guy that's like me. This is how you'll beat a guy that plays like Marcus. Like, what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm not gonna give an inch, but I'll give you advice because you're my teammate, right? But I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? That's just my thoughts.
Okay. Yeah. That just got me thinking when I was listening to Tyler, like, is there a different thing? Laura says, hey guys, how do you think Tucker will handle having a new holder? Kind of curious. Well, I think he'll handle it fine. The question is
the holder up for the holder?
Task? Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's, there's certainly a level of trust that Tucker had with the fact that, he knew when he swung his foot that Cook was going to have that ball in place and with the laces out and everything was good to go. So I think this is kind of going to be a thing where he has to earn and gain the trust of Justin Tucker, because you don't want Tucker being hesitant, being unsure whether you're going to get the ball down, anything like that. You want him to go through his typical routine, take his few steps, and drill that ball through the uprights. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to be nervous in the first few weeks until we see that he's got a hold of the position and can do the job. Because we had a guy like with Cook that we knew could do the job, and he did it at the highest possible level. I don't remember him ever dropping a snap, ever.
Yeah, no, me neither. But that's the same idea, though. I think the way that Justin has got to be approaching it and in helping bring this new guy along is create scenarios in practice that are 10 times harder than anything you're going to face in the game. Like you've seen where he has the narrowed field goal posts. Like those things are great to do in practice. That way, if you mess up, like, dude, that was 80 times harder than anything you're going to see in the game. Same idea, right? That's how I would try and bring him along. But I think he'll be fine. The Ravens have they know how to draft special teamers. They know how to identify them, whether it's drafted or undrafted. Edwin Navedo says team players always rise to the occasion. Yeah, 100%. I understand your point. Like you want to visualize it going in his hands, executing the play and stuff like that. Man, I tell you what, if I'm Marlon, I ain't giving him nothing, not an inch, because I think that's the best way I can make my teammate better. Marco G says, I'm in Cali hoping I can visit Baltimore one day. Also, Rashad had 515 yards after missing 5 games and not having Lamar for 4. I imagine both of them healthy. 100%. I mean, I think Rashad's going to take off this year. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I know he is as well. So I'm excited. Yeah. It always ends up talking Lamar and wide receivers, don't we?
Well, I mean, they're the star of the show, right? It's all about the quarterback, but yeah, so excited about what I'm hearing from Rashad Bateman. This is a massive year for him. And yeah, he's got all the opportunity in the world to really make a huge name for himself after missing some games last year and obviously, having Tyler Huntley be his quarterback at the end of the season and not Lamar Jackson. So yeah, let's hope for the best and let's hope for at the very, I guess at the very least, the thing we want most is health. That's what matters most, and then continue to get better every day after that. But hey, it looks like Ing Raven's in town, Jimbo. So see if we can let's see if we can because we were supposed to be on the show, but of course everybody remembers, if you were watching for a while, that I did have a bout with the big COVID, and that prevented us from going on the last time we were scheduled. So let's hope we can make something happen this time. Any other notes, Jimbo, that you have coming out of the first 2 days?
No, man, I think it's been fun. I think it's exciting. I'm looking forward to this weekend to see what the Ravens do in practice. It's been fun, man. We appreciate all you guys' support for coming out. 200 plus tonight. We're running deep. And I think it's going to keep getting deeper and deeper as the season gets closer and closer. So look, we're, like Glenn said, so appreciative of all you guys, what you do, for you joining us. Hopefully we can give back to you, a fraction of what you give to us. So we appreciate it big time. All that being said, should we give some shout outs?
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely. Let's see. Future, what's going on? Appreciate you coming out. J-Dub, appreciate the McBanger money.
Hopefully things are slow in the ER.
Yes, absolutely. Always hope for a slow day at the ER. Black Daniels, appreciate your participation and continued support. Edwin Navedo. Remember, everyone, if you're not a part of a Facebook fan page, Play Like a Raven is an excellent place. If you go on Facebook, search groups, search Play Like a Raven, and he's doing a great job moderating that. Brandon Thompson, appreciate you coming out, even though it looks like, okay, I thought he was throwing shade at Lamar for Mr. Burrow, but it looks like he's just showing respect both ways. C Stackhouse, appreciate you. Laura Roten, man, continued support. Appreciate all that you do for us here at 410 Sports Talk. Devin Dukes, appreciate you. Yolanda B, Renaud, C Stackhouse, everyone else who I may not have mentioned, appreciate you. Everyone who was a silent observer, thanks for coming out, supporting us, and watching. Again, at the practice this Saturday, if you're there, send us a message. We'll meet up, have a chat, take a picture. We're also going to be there on August 2nd at the facility itself, Tuesday, August 2nd, and Tuesday, August 16th, I should say. But that's it for us tonight, and we look forward to talking to y'all soon. I'm getting
Ugh.
better. I am getting